I'm on a train to Chicago. Why, you might ask? Well, I like trains. Well, not like I have trains set up in my basement, they're in the attic. And they're in a box. It's not like I use them all the time. I just take them out at Christmas to run around the tree. But enough about trains. I'm headed to Chicago to see the Chicago Auto Show. That's what's next. Chicago is a major auto show, but it has never been at the top of the list. Detroit is the Motor City, LA and New York are huge markets. CES is just bonkers. That often leaves Chicago to be the place where you announce new trim packages and variants off existing platforms, derivative announcements. Let's look at the 2023 edition of the Chicago Auto Show, and there was the world debut of a new addition to the Toyota crossover/SUV lineup, but it has a familiar name. It's the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. I was expecting this to be just a long wheelbase version of the current Highlander, but it is more than that. It's also wider and taller, gets completely restyled outside and inside. It adds a third powertrain configuration with the Hybrid Max that gives it lots more power to haul around that bigger body while delivering better fuel economy than its competitors. I cover the Grand Highlander in a separate video. To keep this one short, I'll put a link to it in the notes. This vehicle too, I did a separate in-depth review, link to that video below. In summary, we've already seen the WRX and they revealed the Impreza in LA last year. The Crosstrek is just what you would expect from that platform. Because it's off-roady, the cladding Subaru uses on the Crosstrek looks at home. The car looks nice on the outside, functional on the inside, gets a larger Starlink infotainment system, and lots of standard safety features. Only surprise for me was that they dropped the plug-in hybrid model. The Volkswagen Atlas and Atlas Cross Sport get a major refresh for the 2024 model year. The 6-cylinder VR6 engine is dropped, as is the previous 4-banger. They're replaced by a more powerful 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, producing a little more torque and a little less horsepower than the outgoing VR6. Fuel economy is said to be better, but numbers have not been released. Both body styles feature enhancements to the exterior and upgrades to the interior. An illuminated light bar sits on top of the illuminated VW logo, and LED headlights give it a look used on newer electric Volkswagens. A 12-inch center display and a 10.25-inch driver display feature their latest digital cockpit software. Production of both vehicles are set to begin in the second half of 2023. Quick side note, I mentioned in the intro that I took the train from Detroit to Chicago. Trips like this used to start off at the Michigan Central Station, but that huge building closed in 1988. It stood neglected for 30 years until Ford purchased it in 2018 with plans to renovate it for offices and retail in the historic Corktown area of Detroit. They are still talking about a grand opening later in 2023. Let's talk about Ram. They bought the Ram 1500 Revolution BEV concept to Chicago after making its debut at CES in Las Vegas. The key takeaways are the production vehicle will be called Rev, as in Ram 1500 Rev, not Revolution. They said the production truck would appear in their Super Bowl commercial a few days later. I assumed at the time it would be a teaser, but nope. They showed just about everything, full frontal. I did a video on that too. Check it out. While I'm here, let's talk about Jeep. The Wrangler Rubicon model is turning 20 years old, and to celebrate, there's a special edition. Available on both the 2023 Wrangler Rubicon 4xe, that's their plug-in hybrid powertrain, and the 2023 Wrangler Rubicon 392, that's the Hemi powertrain. The 20th anniversary editions feature new 7-slot grille, beadlock-capable wheels, a toolkit, steel bumpers, half-inch suspension lift, 20th anniversary decals, and more. 4,000 of these anniversary editions will be made in total. If that's not special enough, then it. Tack on the Level 2 upfit by American Expedition Vehicles and get 37-inch tires, a Warren winch, Bilstein shocks, off-road lights, new bumper, skid plates. Congratulations, you now have a Wrangler that costs over $100,000, but only for the first 150 people. Jeep has said this before, but it's worth repeating. They want half their US vehicle sales to be all electric by 2030. So far, they have announced the Recon, which I think is sweet, and the Wagoneer S, which will get a new name eventually. But there's the Avenger model that's a small SUV only sold in Europe. There must be other electric Jeeps that we don't know about yet. Look for more announcements in the months to come. Chrysler, what's taking so long with the Airflow production announcement? It's electric. The vehicle looks great. It's a popular size, crossover-like. Maybe the headlights aren't fully production, but the rest of the vehicle looks done. It's an air quote concept that has reflective side mirrors, while every other concept uses cameras that aren't yet legal in the US. They've said that a battery electric vehicle is coming in 2025. I can only assume that you're looking at it. Maybe they'll make that official at the New York Auto Show in April. Here's a scenic marina on the shores of Lake Michigan, right next to a coal-fired electric plant. That plant is scheduled to go offline in 2028 as more renewable energy becomes available. Some vehicles on display were not necessarily new, but it's the first time I've seen them in person. Here's a few. Hyundai Ioniq 6. When I watched the reveal online, I thought the car was cool, except for the back end, which was a disaster. Either the looks are growing on me, or it just looks better in person. I don't know. Comment below if you still think it's ugly. Some people compare the back end to a Porsche 911. I don't buy that, but overall, it's a really good looking car with some, funk in the trunk. I still prefer the retro 80s look of the Ioniq 5, but the Ioniq 6 gets better range due to its super aerodynamic shape. Nissan Ariya electric SUV looks exceptional in person. Even that terrible copper color looks okay under the auto show lights. The interior is well done. These touch-sensitive buttons provide tactile feedback when you press them. Don't look now, but Nissan is the leading manufacturer of electric vehicles in Japan. I mean, look at the other companies. They got caught flat-footed and have been very stubborn, continuing to tout hydrogens and hybrids. It was recently announced that they reshaped their alliance with Renault and Mitsubishi. Maybe things are looking up for Nissan. The train does go through Gary, Indiana. I'll put a link or two in the notes to videos that explain the history of this Rust Belt town and the surrounding industries. It's kind of the same story that explains other towns in this part of America. I'll just say, whenever you can, buy American. By the way, McCormick Place in Chicago is massive. They say it's the largest auto show in North America, but that's measured by square footage, not by media coverage or reveal. Inside, they have enough room to do test drives, particularly for electric vehicles. The Cadillac Lyriq test driver did a great job of pointing out the regenerative braking zone, quiet acceleration. He drove it pretty hard. It was a great way to explain to people how EVs are different than a combustion engine vehicle. I wish all auto shows had the place to do this. I didn't know the Lexus RZ450e, which is based on the BZ4X and also shared with the Subaru Solterra. It can be ordered with a yoke steering wheel. It uses steer-by-wire technology, so there is no physical connection to the steering rack. It's all electric. It allows them to easily vary the steering ratio depending on the speed, since it's just software, and it's easier to package in both left-hand drive and right-hand drive vehicles. I like Chicago-style hot dogs. Chicago-style pizza, on the other hand,
it's a casserole.
What else? Mustang Dark Horse. I saw it in Detroit. Still looks great. This one has carbon fiber wheels that are 37% lighter, and that's unsprung weight, of course. Pirelli P0 Trofeo RS tires work great on the track, not so great on normal roads and weather conditions. The color is called Blue Ember, and it takes on a different personality under different lighting conditions. The interior features a blue anodized shift knob and blue indigo stitching. The car just looks mean. I'll say this, though. The horse heads on the side, maybe that's a bit too much, but whatever. Time to get on the train. Unlike Detroit, Chicago has managed to maintain its Union Station as a hub for long-distance and commuter travel. Chicago is one of the great architecture cities in the world. I recommend taking a canal cruise, in the summer, of course. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed going to the Chicago Auto Show. Live from the Windy City, thanks for watching.